incredible, but life will guide us. But also my takeaway from this was that it works somehow. The cloud divination worked, the totems work. I feel like I'm waiting for the lottery. Oh, North Platte to Denver. This was Freedom's All-American Rediscovery Tour. And I had been stuck in North Platte for like a week, and I've got lots of stories from North Platte. North Platte is where I learned how to dumpster dive. Okay? Lots of stories in North Platte. I left North Platte, and my plan was to just keep heading straight west. I was going to go through Wyoming into those other two states over there, Washington, Oregon. They're all the same. I don't know why we separate them. I'm always confusing them. And that was my plan. And so I'm going across I-80. And you know how the road signs work. Like they'll start telling you like 200 miles before there's another major city. So I'm seeing Wyoming, and I'm also seeing Denver. And suddenly the voice kicks in. You should go to Denver. I don't fucking want to go to Denver. What do you mean I should go to Denver? You should go to Denver. This happened, no lie, off and on for a good part of the drive. Finally, I was like, listen, dude, I have just enough gas to get where I'm going in Wyoming. I made that happen. I don't know what's going to happen if I go off to Denver. I can't make that drive. Silence for a long time. All of a sudden, I'm driving down the road, and I see this little, like, it wasn't a Jeep, but it was, that shape and a little tiny. It was pulled way off to the side of the road, kind of on an incline, but not quite. Flat tire. I'm like, I'm going to stop and see what's going on. So I pull over, and the guy's got a flat tire. And the first thing I notice is he's got two little kids in the back of his vehicle. And he said, yeah, I know. I was like, you're over kind of far. He said, yeah, I know. I wanted to get far away because on 80, if you think they're bad like around here on 78, 80's insane. They just don't care on 80. So I get that. He wanted to be away just in case there was a problem. And he's like, I was like, I'm going to help. He's like, okay, what can we do? I was like, well, first thing, let's get the kids out of the car, just in case. Because I didn't know how this was going to work. What we ended up doing was we used both jacks, and we used one to kind of support the car so it didn't tilt as we pumped up the other side to remove the tire. When it was all done, he gives me $20, thanks me, and I head out on my way. About 10 minutes later, I hear the voice. You have gas money now. You son of a bitch. And I was being stubborn. I was like, I'm not going to Denver. And when we come up on the split, I-80 goes forward into Wyoming and another interstate goes this way, and it's at least 5 lanes, it might be 6, all the way across, because 80's already a 3-lane interstate, and so now they're splitting off all this traffic. And I thought, I'm going to show you, you son of a bitch. And I got as far over in the right as I could coming up on that break. And I said, I'm going to Wyoming, and I shit you not. As if somebody had grabbed my wrists that quick. My hands turned, my car shot across all 5 or 6 lanes of the highway, and I was now on the furthest left side, and I heard the voice say, you're going to Denver. True story. I know it sounds incredible, but true story. I had no control in that moment. And there were many reasons for going to Denver, actually. I'm not going to get into too many of the stories. It actually, I mean, if I look back on it, I'd have never made money in Wyoming. They're not real keen on guys like me in Wyoming. I don't fit in. They want nothing to do with me. But I made money in Boulder. Boulder was only a half an hour from Denver. Life has a plan of its own. We can't fight it. I want to see what time we're at. What time are we at? Really? Is that it? Well, that's a shame. Well, I cut stuff off. I had written a whole part based on Tara being here, and then she didn't show up. She's not even listening. I can't decide. They're both really good. A or B?
A.
A?
B.
You contrary son of a bitch. All right, I'm going to do B first. So this is the White Dog with Peach Bottom. This was my second quest, and this time I was going south in the summer. Again, a dumbass. The first two trips I did this very backwards. I didn't know what I was doing. So I decided I was actually going to stop and see my friend Encyclopedia I think he was in Charleston at the time, and I was going to visit with him and then head out across 40 going west. And I decided at the same time that while I was going out and around and questing, that I would stop at the family farm, Miles' family, in Peach Bottom, Pennsylvania. Go ahead, try to find that on a map. The only thing that actually puts Peach Bottom, Pennsylvania on a map is they have a nuclear power plant in Peach Bottom, Pennsylvania.